Hi everybody, welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Lene Gehrig, and today I've got a great collection of stamps. These are foliage stamps from Nellie's Choice, and they're really sweet. They're great little additions to add background to your stamp, or as you'll see what my friend Debbie did, she created an entire card using these foliage stamps. So come back and play with us and I'll show you what's going on. This first card my friend Debbie made, it's a 5x5 card, and that she used the fern branch and the willow branch stamp. She started off with her blank 5x5 card. We carry the 5x5s from Hunky Dory, and they also have the coordinating envelopes, so you don't have to source those. Look for all of these products in the products used list below the video at Paper Wishes. And then she also used this great 12 rectangles and scalloped cutting dies to her little centerpiece right there. And at the center of that, she used, I can grab these here. These are the We're Together, the We're Together Dazzle Stickers. And she used this one right here. It's a really nice sort of bronze color, but they come in white and gold and silver as well. And they're just a great collection to have for friendship cards, get well cards. And then for the ink pads that she used on here, she used Pine Tree. She used these Harmony Spectrum Noir water reactive ink pads for most of this, even though they didn't, she didn't use the water reactive properties for that. So this way she used Pine Tree, Spring Meadow, and then she also used, gosh, I think this one is Seal. Make sure you check the list below of the cards so you can see all the products, all the ink colors that she used for every specific card. So as you can see on this one, it's really nice to have a stamping platform for this. And then what she did was she took her 5x5 card right there, put that magnet right in the center there, and then she took her stamps and then went around the card with one color, just like this. She said she kind of went off the edge like that, okay? So then stamp it with a color, reposition it, or you can also stamp it with a color, turn your card so that the stamp is in the same place. Let me show you this, like this. And then you can just keep turning so you'll get all four corners. And then reposition your stamp in the center and make a turn again. Stamp it there and keep turning. And then you can reposition it so you're not repositioning it for every single time, if you see what I mean. Okay, and then she started off with that layer using both shades of green, and then she did her ferns using the Seal Brown. That was the last color. And all these little flowers and hearts and things were from this sheet of Dazzle Stickers. Okay. A little brown ribbon on the top to make a bow. It's a nice little addition there. Okay. This next card, this beautiful Thinking of You card, she used the same set of she used the same set of Dazzle Stickers on this one, and I once again used those in that really pretty bronze color. Oops, there we go. There's two different sheets there in the bronze. And then for this particular card, she started off with using, this is Ocean Blue, and used blender brushes. And we have two different sets of blender brushes. This is one of them. I'll list both of them in the supply list, the products used below. But this one has a set of 4, and it starts off with this little sort of medium-sized heads, and it goes down to the very, very tiny. So she first started with the Ocean Blue at the top, and then some Seal Brown along the bottom edge, and then started stamping. This one is just called Flowers. Flowers 18 is this one. This one is, I'm not even sure how to pronounce this one. This one's ACACIA. I'm not even going to try. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have heard of that one before. This is Flowers number 20. And started off by doing this one. As you can see, she just sort of tried to get the branch part in a brown color, and then by inking the entire surface brown, then took a wipe and went back and just kind of wiped off the foliage, stamped the brown, and then went back and added that in green. And that is a really cool effect there. And then stamped the rest of these in, this one is Honey Pot for a really nice golden color. Briar Brown, put these right here so you can see them, Briar Brown, and then of course Pine Tree, which is a great green color. Right, and then I wanted to show you this one that I did using the maple leaf. Okay, this is the maple branch rather. And what I did is I took, this is a 8.5 by 5 inch card, and I'm going to show you this technique. It's very, very simple. First, you're going to take, this is, let's see, I used different ink pads, olive green, prism ink pad, and evergreen. So for the olive green, the first thing I did was, I'm going to need our craft mat here. Okay, first thing is you want to get some of that olive green along this top edge. Just like that. And then my rule of thumb is to always go back and clean your brush right after you use it, because inevitably you grab it and then put the wrong color on your edge. All right, now we're going to take our stamping platform and our maple branch. I think this one's great because it's such a versatile stamp. You can see using this for fall. So for this one, I just started right there on the edge, kind of like this. And then I applied the evergreen ink. I love these ink pads because they're just the right amount of color. They're nice and juicy, and they're very inexpensive. So you can afford to get lots of colors. They also come in a shimmer finish as well, which is really nice. All right, we're going to do that one. And then I just sort of angled it a little bit differently as I went down. Ink that again. There we go. And I just did that all the way down the edge, and then I cut a little bit from the top. I cut about 1/4 of an inch away from the top, and then just along the bottom edge here, these are colorful thin line Dazzle stickers, and I took a purple one and just ran that along the bottom edge, right down here. And then I stamped, this one is Floral Greeting stamp. I did Sending Smiles in a nice purple ink, and then added some Jewel Dazzle stickers. These little round stickers are just precious and perfect for just adding a little sparkle. So here's a sheet that is well used. I'm going to grab this little pokey tool. We also have a little jewel picker, which is great to use, and I'll link both of these in the supplies below. But you can just add these just like this, just to add a little sparkle. You can add them in groups of 3 and 4, just like that. And it gives you a very simple card to do. This would be really great to mass produce a bunch of these very, very quickly. All right, for my last card here, this one Debbie did using, this is fantastic. She used Flowers number 21, and this is Flowers number 19. And this one looks almost like a little Queen Anne's lace there. And she also used some, this is Pixie Sparkles Coral Crush and Beyond Blue to get her background. And I'm going to show you how to use that, but then she also used script greeting Dazzle stickers right here for Just Because, and they come in all these finishes, and she used the black one right there. So this is a 6.5 by 5-inch card. She covered it first with black cardstock, then trimmed her paper down just slightly larger than that, created her background, and then she used translucent clear ink, and this is embossing ink. We also have several other brands that are also very good, and I will link that below in the products used as well. And then this is ultra fine black embossing powder that she used with that, and of course with the heat gun, and it gives a really great glossy finish on there. But I'm going to show you how to create that background. So we need just a spray bottle with a little clean water in that. I like to spray, you can either use thick white cardstock for this, or you can use watercolor paper. And we're going to start off with Beyond Blue. There we go. Now you can tap, tap, tap and squeeze a little bit, tap, 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 and get just a lot on here. Debbie loves to go really heavy-handed with her color. And sometimes I have trouble replicating that because my inclination is to use a little less product. But mine is going to look different from hers, yours is going to look different from mine. So I am not going to tap, I am going to squeeze. Okay, now let's get I know this isn't nearly enough, so but we're going to take a look at what this looks like. She also likes to use a lot of water, like puddling amounts of water. Okay. And you can see here that by getting down the first layer and then going back over and just hitting it with sort of dots of darker color. Okay. And then we're going to spray that again. Cardstock is kind of bowing here a little bit. All right, so that's our first layer. And then we've got Coral Crush. And this one, you can see she really does really intentional dots of color. So we're going to try to replicate that by giving these a squeeze and not tapping it at all. Woo, that's a lot, Lene. Okay, let's try that. Okay, as I said, lots of water. She said that's her big tip. Sometimes you feel like you're using too much water, but then she just lets it dry on her table. And then once it's dry, she puts it under something heavy, and that takes care of the bowing, okay? So I think I'm getting closer there. She left sort of a white border around hers. Now, she let this dry all day, probably overnight, and then did her embossing image on that. You don't want any dampness on your paper when you're doing your embossing because that embossing powder will stick to anything that's damp or sticky. So make sure that that is well dry. Okay, so you guys, we've got a fantastic money saver. I'm going to move this over on this entire collection of foliage stamps, which I think is just a great idea to have in your craft stash. You can do lots of things with them. Here we go. So I would definitely encourage you to check that out. If you're watching us on YouTube, look in the description box below the video and it'll take you to this webisode page where you'll see everything I mentioned. We've got the money saver on the right. We've got the products used below. Make sure you check all those out. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.